Silly season just started, but it has already been one of the most entertaining summer breaks in a while. With the announced retirement of Sebastian Vettel, the move from Alonso to Aston Martin, and all the drama that evolves around Oscar Piastri, there is much to talk about. Yet there is more news as Daniel Ricciardo has been approached by 4 teams to drive for next season. It is no secret that Ricciardo has a difficult time at McLaren ever since he made the move from Renault to McLaren in 2021. It also becomes increasingly known that McLaren would like to replace Ricciardo for next season. When Ricciardo moved to McLaren, he signed a 3-year contract with an annual salary of $15 million in the hope that he could lead the team back to the top. There is no doubt to Ricciardo's driving skills and his past results, but 2021 proved a difficult year as he ended 45 points behind his teammate Lando Norris. Although Ricciardo was far behind his teammate, there was still good hope for the 2022 season with the new regulations coming into play. Yet, the point deficit between Ricciardo and Norris is growing and is currently 57 points. There has been rumors about an exit for Ricciardo for multiple months now, but so far, Ricciardo has always said that he will drive for McLaren next season. However, insiders say that Oscar Piastri already signed a contract at McLaren, and Piastri's own denial to drive for Alpine next year is making these rumors more likely to be true. To make things even more complicated, McLaren said that Ricciardo has till September to decide what his next move is going to be. Insiders say that McLaren hopes that Ricciardo decides to leave himself, so McLaren doesn't have to pay a huge fine to buy out his contract. Although tension is building between Ricciardo and McLaren, there is also some good news. According to ESPN, 4 F1 teams approached Ricciardo in the last couple weeks. But who are these teams? Should Ricciardo stay at McLaren or sign on for any of these teams? And how does Ricciardo respond to all these rumors? Let's find out. While some drivers use the summer to relax and load up the batteries, other drivers are in the middle of contract negotiations or under immense speculation to be let go by their team. One of these drivers is Ricciardo. Although Ricciardo won a race for McLaren last year, which was their first win since 2012, he is far from consistently scoring points and doesn't deliver what Zak Brown hoped for. During the last race at Hungary, Ricciardo showed once again that he is far off the pace of his teammate Norris. Although both drivers ended in Q3, with Norris starting from 4th position and Ricciardo from 9th, it was only Norris that brought home some points by finishing 7th. Ricciardo fell all the way back to the 15th position and lost out on valuable points for his team. Zak Brown, CEO of McLaren, already said multiple times in the past that Ricciardo has to perform better if he wants to keep his seat. The frequent criticism of Ricciardo's pace let rumors spread that he is going to be replaced next year. Interestingly, one of the drivers people talked about to replace him was Sebastian Vettel, who we now know will retire, and started all the changes in the drivers' market. But why is it so difficult to get rid of Ricciardo? Ricciardo signed a contract which would last 3 years till the end of 2023. With $15 million a year, he still makes a lot of money, but significantly less than the $27 million he earned at Renault, now Alpine. However, his McLaren contract does not contain a clause to fire Ricciardo in case he doesn't perform. On the other hand, Ricciardo does have a clause in his contract which states that he can leave McLaren after 2 years. His contract is exactly what is currently the big issue for McLaren. If they want to get rid of Ricciardo, they have to pay a huge fine to buy out his contract. Interestingly, Ricciardo recently posted a firm statement on Instagram that he will still be a McLaren driver in 2023. The latest news said that McLaren gave Ricciardo till September to decide whether he wants to continue driving for McLaren or move to another team. With a certain likelihood that Piastri already signed at McLaren, Ricciardo can either wait so McLaren has to buy him out, with the potential that other F1 teams already filled up their seats, or he decides to leave McLaren voluntarily at the end of the year. But what are Ricciardo's options for next season if he does leave McLaren? Before Vettel's announcement that he would retire at the end of this season, the drivers' market was pretty tight. But his retirement in combination with Alonso's decision to leave Alpine behind and move to Aston Martin completely opened up the drivers' market. ESPN said that 4 teams have approached Ricciardo to come and drive for them next year. But who are these teams? To find out, we have to see what other drivers are under pressure to lose their seat. One of them is Nicholas Latifi. He himself said in June that he needs to improve, otherwise he loses his seat. A big contender for this seat was Oscar Piastri, and as a deal, Williams would drive with Alpine engines. However, insiders say that Williams also informed about Ricciardo. Another driver that is under pressure is Mick Schumacher. When the son of seven-time world champion Michael Schumacher entered the F1 in 2021, everyone had high hopes that he would be a reincarnation of his father. However, his poor results in combination with crashes causes him to be under pressure inside his team. F1 journalist Joe Sayward recently said that he has inside news that Haas seriously considers to let Mick go at the end of the year. This is, however, in stark contrast to Schumacher's recent comments that he is ready to drive for Ferrari. But with Sainz and Leclerc driving for Ferrari, that is not likely going to happen anytime soon. Finally, AlphaTauri driver Yuki Tsunoda is getting under more and more pressure as he keeps making rookie mistakes. 2022 is his second season in Formula One, but his impulsive character doesn't go well in getting consistent results. It is no secret that Helmut Marko has difficulty keeping Tsunoda in check and to focus on developing himself. Tsunoda's crash in Canada was a big rookie mistake, while he crashed into his teammate in Silverstone one race later, leading to severe damage to Verstappen, who lost valuable points in the World Championship due to debris from the AlphaTauris. It is likely that Williams, Haas, and AlphaTauri all approached Ricciardo and see if he is to poke for a switch to any of these teams. A fourth team has been added and confirmed by Otmar Szafnauer from Alpine. Initially, Alpine was set to enter the 2023 season with Alonso and Ocon, but after Vettel's retirement at Aston Martin and Alonso's sudden move to replace Vettel, a spot opened up at Alpine. Alpine was confident that Oscar Piastri would take Alonso's place, but himself denied that fiercely on Twitter and said that he will not be driving for Alpine next year. One day later, Szafnauer, team boss of Alpine, was confronted by Autosport.com with Piastri's reaction and asked whether Ricciardo would be an option to replace Alonso. Szafnauer did confirm that he would love to work together with Ricciardo again. He specifically said, "If you look at the situation with Alonso, he comes and goes just as easy. That is no problem at all. We as a team focus on the next 88 races. We have the goal to fight for race wins within 100 races, so we have 88 races left. We have to make sure that we execute our plans as good as possible with the best possible driver, who we can put next to Ocon and help us with our future goals." Ricciardo had quite a successful period at Alpine, previously called Renault, before he moved to McLaren. Ricciardo is well known with the team and its procedures, so moving back to Alpine shouldn't be a big step. But the question is, should Ricciardo move to any of these teams, or stay at McLaren? Although Ricciardo does have a tight contract at McLaren till the end of next year, you have to wonder whether there can be a good working relationship if McLaren doesn't want Ricciardo as a driver anymore. It seems that McLaren does whatever it can to get rid of Ricciardo, and with the strong rumors of Piastri signing a deal for McLaren, it might be in Ricciardo's best interest to switch teams. Alpine is of the same level, if not have a faster car than McLaren at the moment, and their development speed can be called impressive. The budget cap also brings opportunities to Alpine it previously didn't have. It is unlikely that an 8-time race winner will be interested in a seat at Williams or Haas, and considering Ricciardo's past, AlphaTauri, which is the daughter team of Red Bull, also wouldn't be an option. So how does Ricciardo respond to all these rumors and criticism? Ricciardo said in an interview that he agrees that things don't go how he had hoped. "In this sport, you are as good as your last race. Somehow, I always have something to prove, either to myself or the fans. I still believe that I can perform at the highest level and win races. I definitely think I can find some more luck in the second half of the season." Although Ricciardo doesn't directly respond to the rumors, his enjoyment and ambition in the sport is good news for everyone that would like to see Ricciardo back on the podium. Although his time at McLaren seems to be coming to an end, Alpine seems to be the most logical choice for next year and allow for the smoothest transition since both parties know each other. Whatever will happen, there is plenty of interest in Ricciardo to see him on the grid next year.